All right, it is 5:30. We are going to call this meeting to order, and Lynn, may I have your help with that with a roll call, please?
Present.
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 Here. Here. Here.
Here, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And fellow trustees, do you have any additions, deletions, rearrangements of our agenda this evening? Okay, with that, let's move right into the heart of the room, and that is hearing from one of our very own. Jaron is here, Jaron Larson. And Jaron, you're going to share a story that helps show our mission, vision, and values in action. I know that you've been a part of our 75th anniversary planning. You were part of our October conference, speaking on AI. So it's great to have you here. Tell us more about your story.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I think the best way to kind of frame this is probably a thank you for stewarding this college. And so I'll kind of go back to how I started at NMC, what made me decide to choose this to begin with, as well as a couple different circumstances, events, and decisions that has led me to stay here as long as I have. So I graduated high school in 2021, right after COVID. And to be honest, the main reason I chose to dual enroll was because it got me out of a math credit as a high school student. So it let me graduate on time without taking a second semester of trigonometry. And with COVID, there was no way I was going to pass that class. But they were kind of passing out A's, so maybe I could have. Looking at my opportunities, I realized that staying with NMC was a prudent choice because of high cost of college. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. General uncertainty was pretty common with school at that time. So I was like, hey, if I can knock out a few classes, even if it's just a year or two here, I'll do it. So I stayed. And at the same time, I wanted to start building a resume, so I actually took a job at a body shop. While taking courses at NMC, I decided to focus all my energy towards business classes. I figured it's widely applicable. I thought it was interesting. So I was studying business, and I realized there was an opportunity in the automotive world. And I took some course assignment opportunities from, I think it was a marketing class, to develop a business plan that I then put into action at the end of the semester, and started my first business at one semester into NMC. That business was essentially acquiring, restoring, and distributing car parts. So it was pretty involved, and it relied on both business studies as well as skills I was learning in the body shop. I stayed enrolled in college, and at the same time as I completed my first associate degree, I actually wrapped up the business because what happened was I had a key partner who actually sort of had a falling out with me, more of a ethics alignment than anything. But what that led to was a gap year. And to be honest, it wasn't a true gap year because I still took 2 classes at NMC. And then that actually let me serve as president of the NMC motorsports team during that period. And that was a pretty foundational experience for me because I was able to actually take a lot of the organizational skills and leadership skills I learned running my own business, but then integrate it to, okay, now you're leading a group of volunteers, and they say leading volunteers is the hardest group to lead. So I put myself up to that task and learned very quickly why they say it's the hardest. After that experience, I realized that I wasn't just interested in business or working with my hands. I actually really liked the design aspect of what motorsports was intended to be. And so that led me to come back this past year as a full-time student pursuing engineering. So I've been here this past year full-time, as well as this past semester. I plan to graduate, I guess, this semester, even though this coming semester, I haven't applied to graduate, so I guess I got to do that still. But this past summer, I had the opportunity to go down to University of Michigan and participate in some research down there that now I'm continuing remote here. And overall, I would say that, it's been honestly a world-class educational experience, being able to take a lot of the theory learned at NMC, apply it to things I'm doing outside of the classroom, but also just have the availability of the college and the courses has really been valuable for me. So combining that with also, having this college steward positions like the 75th anniversary committee planning, which honestly haven't done a whole lot myself, but I go to the meetings occasionally, to be honest about that. As well as, being able to speak with the October conference was, I would say, helpful. I found it helpful. My professors said they enjoyed what I had to say. So,
Great.
yeah, that's kind of my spiel, but I'm also able to answer questions and all that.
Well, we appreciate you certainly incorporating NMC into your life. You're a critical component, and you're why we're here. We have, including myself, a couple of alums here at this table. Maybe someday we'll see you as a trustee
There you go.
at this table. But regardless, we really appreciate your passion, your energy, your talent, your time, and everything that you do to put our mission, vision, and values to action. So thank you, Jaron.
No, thank you.
Yes. All right.
Thanks, John.
And now, in preparation for our 26 through 29 strategic plan, I'd like to welcome Jason Slade back to the podium so that we can hear about this, this strategic plan that we are approaching, the updated one.
Trustees, thank you very much for having me tonight. Jaron, thank you for sharing that update. I've had the fortune of actually meeting Jaron through some of our college initiatives, first with our automotive club, and then next with our work within OOPS. And so Jaron is a great representative of what we have at this college, and we're lucky to have somebody like him that's so involved with so many aspects of our work. So when I actually think of the strategic plan, it really is geared to students like Jaron, those that are trying to get more out of their education here at Northwestern Michigan College, those that we want to represent our college as we move forward. So I just want to thank the trustees as we've gone through and navigated the strategic planning process. I know it's taken up a significant amount of your time as we've had board study sessions, the time allocated at the meetings, and input back and forth, and that input obviously continues as we go through this cycle. But today, as I move forward with our December update, I'll be seeking the recommendation from the Board of Trustees approving the 26 through 29 strategies. Background, as I said, we launched into this in July, really using the last strategic plan as a framework for what we wanted to do moving forward. We always said there was about 80% of that old plan carried into the new, and I really think you see those themes in this plan, or at least the biggest themes in this plan. This work wouldn't have been done without our strategic plan steering committee, which are listed in your document. This was a cross-sectional slice of leadership, faculty, staff, and employees here at the college that really stepped up and said, here's what we're looking at for the plan and the direction we want to go. We're fortunate enough to have Trustee Healy with us on that, as well as the foundation, as we look to make the new plan better, foster the work of the foundation and our goals for the college. So with this new strategic plan, we're focusing in on 3 strategies. Those strategies are future-focused education, as we want to equip our learners for a rapidly changing world through purposeful academic pathways, those durable skills, and technology literacy. Enrollment and student success, this is probably one of our most vital ones. We want to continue to advance our enrollment and student success by removing barriers and ensuring that every learner experiences the coordinated support needed to persist and achieve their goals. And then our vibrant college community. We want to improve our places, systems, and supports that shape life at NMC, making it easier for students and employees to connect, seed, and take pride in their work and learning. I think one of the most critical aspects that the board pushed us in was the development of strategic drivers. And the idea is that no matter what strategy we have, as we look at our objectives, that they need to carry forth these 4 strategic drivers. As we look at living our brand, what does it mean? What is NMC's distinctive identity? Our community partnerships, which we know are absolutely critical when we think of the success of students like Jaron, stewardship and sustainability. We have to make sure that our programs, as we develop new programs, departments, and services, that they're able to grow and thrive. And then obviously none of this is possible without our people. And so making sure that we're creating that inclusive environment to allow our faculty, staff, and students to succeed. And so then as we move forward, we'll be launching into our preliminary objectives, which I shared with you when we met previously, both at the November study session and then again when we had our November board meeting. And then the goal around these objectives is for us to begin this preliminary work in this early phase. So as we look from January to June, as we try to focus in on areas of concentration in each of those 3 strategies. And so as we jump into future focus education, we'll be looking at our distinctive programs, our regional programs, artificial intelligence and other emerging technologies, and then well as the support for our students. Just broadly in strategy 3, it's really looking at those enrollment systems in place. How are we attracting students? How are we retaining students? And making sure that we have that coordinated support available for all our students. And then our vibrant college community. That continues on our work with the master plan and really looks at what do we need for our existing facilities, future facilities, what's that student experience need to be both in the dorms, on campus, adult learners across the board, and then really what does it mean for NMC to continue to strengthen its reputation as an employer of choice. And so we'll be diving into those objectives, continue to refine those with the goal of coming back to the Board of Trustees in springtime and going strategy by strategy, objective by objective as we look at what are our baseline metrics, where do we want to go, why is this the direction we should be going as we pull that data. Even today in President's Council, we did a deep dive with our institutional research group around some of the metrics that they are currently gathering when it comes to the employee satisfaction survey and talked explicitly about how these can be indicators within our objective around employer of choice. And so the goal would be to come back to you in the springtime as labeled there with strategy 1, 2, and 3 in the months of March, April, and May, and then work our way from what I'm calling this preliminary phase into launching that year 1 of July 1st, 2026 through June 30th of 27 and the year 1 of the strategic plan.
Excellent. What questions, comments do you have for Jason as we wind out this process?
I just want to say, being a part of the, the board representative and the steering committee, how impressive to see from the inside. I got an opportunity to watch some of the processes of this over the last few months, and the leadership, the team that was brought together, the work that was being done. It was all just so impressive. And thanks to everyone for the hard work to get us to this point.
Excellent. Well, Jason, the thing that is, several things about the strategic plan that has me quite enthused about what we're going to accomplish in these next few years is that it remains a very living document. You proved in the past few years that you and your team work in and within and around this document. The other thing that I have found very helpful for us is that you've also left room in this plan for us to bring in new innovative ideas as they arise. So as we know, with a possibilitarian as a president, that's going to happen. With a very active and passionate community, that's going to happen. And so you've allowed this plan to be able to kind of grow along the way. It incorporates our foundation this time, which I think is outstanding. It was a bold move from Catherine and the foundation leadership, and for you to bring it in. And finally, the other addition that I think just really put the bow on the package is the fact that it's brought in our communication leadership with Diana. And so the two of you have really knocked this out of the park, along with everyone else that's on your team. So let's go. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, we're going to move into our reports and presentations, and we get to hear from Lori Hodek, our Director of Professional Development Institute, Janet Lively, our Director of Center for Instructional Excellence, and hear about our October conference. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Lori Hodak, as you heard. My role is that of Talent Development Coordinator here at NMC and also as the Director of the Professional Development Institute.
I'm Janet Lively. I'm a communications instructor, and I am the director of the Center for Instructional Excellence, so I do half and half.
So Janet and I manage internal professional development here at NMC, and we'd like to recap our 10th annual October conference for you. So this year's theme was Reimagining Learning and Work, the Transformative Impact of AI. So the whole day was devoted to learning AI. Sorry, I'm juggling lots of things here. So, let's see.
You can just do that. Okay.
All right, so this year we partnered with 20 Fathoms to help us identify and connect with AI experts in our community. You can see on the screen, we had a lot of partners that took part in this conference, various roles, various industries. What was most impressive about this is we asked each person from each of these institutions that we were directed to through 20 Fathoms, we asked if they would be interested and willing to present at our conference, and everyone said yes. We believe that really reflects on NMC's strong collaborative reputation and the deep community connections as our community's college.
So this was our biggest conference to date. It's our 10th and the biggest. So by the numbers, we ate 19 dozen Gallagher's donuts, and we really did. There were like nothing left. We served 260 lunches. We had 23 separate sessions. We had 16 community members as presenters, plus 19 NMC folks. So we had 35 presenters total and panelists. So our community presenters brought some people along with them. All told, we had 25 people from the community, which we were really happy about. If you're not familiar with our conference, we close the college for the day, and everybody gets a chance to participate in this PD day. So Lori is handing out some copies of our schedule, just to give you an idea of what we did. So we had 3 tracks where people could choose their session. A lot of people said it was hard to choose which one to do. At the end of the day, our 4th session was for faculty and staff to meet with their departments and kind of debrief what happened during the day. We got some suggestions about the logistics of that last session, but the idea of it was well received.
So following opening remarks from President Nisley, Dr. Milos Topish, from the Vice President and Chief Digital Officer at Grand Valley, presented a keynote. And then after the keynote, he was invited to be part of a panel. So you can see on the screen behind you, these are each of our panelists representing Munson, Interlochen Center for the Arts, TCAPS, Haggerty Insurance. And the panel was moderated by Dr. Terry Gustafson, NMC's Director of Academic Affairs and Educational Technology. Each of the panelists lead the AI initiatives and efforts in their institutions. And each of them shared their approaches to AI adoption, including challenges, successes, and perspectives for the future. What was great this year is that highlights from the conference were actually shared on LinkedIn. The photo on the screen is one of those that was posted. Just kind of sharing both about the conference and then, putting NMC out there on social media, which was kind of a bonus.
We received positive feedback in the post-conference survey from faculty and staff. Interestingly, while 79% felt that the conference was very valuable or valuable, the feedback on the individual sessions was much higher, like 90%. So we weren't really sure what was going on there. The opening community panel received high praise in the survey comments. People also liked the student panel, featuring Jaren, and the AI Workforce Panel of the Future. The hands-on computer lab sessions were standing room only, which reflected a high interest in experimenting with and learning about AI.
So we also have on the screen some of the comments from the survey. One that really stood out said, "It's a beautiful thing putting that many great minds together. The collective employee spirit comes alive. Incredible ideas are being exchanged. This is what the day is all about." And that really is the theme of October Conference, is just getting everyone together collaboratively, just be able to connect in a more casual environment and also learning together. So we also believe that some of the less positive feedback we saw in the survey was likely from participants who were either feeling a little overwhelmed by AI, since this is new for a lot of people, and then maybe some that weren't quite ready for AI adoption.
So what's next for AI and professional development? Well, the faculty have started department-specific training with Allie Thornton, our Technology Support Services Coordinator. So departments are holding lunch meetings with Allie in the computer lab, and CIE is buying lunch. Allie also plans to hold open lab sessions for faculty and staff who want to keep exploring AI. She'll be leading AI training across all employee groups based on survey results and feedback from training attendees.
One of the sessions you'll see in the guide was related to establishing norms in a department, and several of our supervisors have requested that type of training as well. So we are planning to partner with Carrie Woofter, who is our library director, and offer additional trainings so departments can focus specifically on what is acceptable in a department, what are the agreements on using AI, and effectively using it. And then last spring, we convened an AI community of practice. So this was a group of faculty and staff getting together to learn AI. We had hands-on practice time in a supportive environment, and we hope to adopt some more of that in the future. So, and then connecting back to Jason and the strategic plan, part of that strategic plan, as you heard, is related to AI. So we will be looking at supporting AI training for faculty, staff, and students. And then Janet and I are serving as well as objective leads on this project.
Okay. Have any
Great.
questions?
Questions, comments? Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have a question. I just wanted to commend both of you on a really outstanding day. And I'm just so thrilled to see this whole AI issue being taken seriously here. It is going to transform everything, certainly including NMC, and figuring out how to use it in the classroom, how the professors use it, but also how the students can use it effectively, has got to be an extremely high priority, and I think this is a great way to really kick that off.
Excellent.
Thanks.
What other questions or comments might you have for these ladies? Well, I agree with the AI concept of, what you did with the October conference. If we take AI out of the October conference, I want to just also say October conference is such a pride moment. I know it's a proud moment for President Nisley to always so pumped up before he goes, because it sounds like there's just an enormous amount of energy in the rooms. So thank you for putting that together. But again, related to AI, absolutely, we're very proud to see our college at the forefront of this, trying to figure it out. And maybe a goal would be, I always enjoy watching a podium-worthy story at, say, our Michigan Community College Association, or maybe even our national organization. So maybe someday we can get you ladies up to one of those podiums sharing one of our worthy stories. So thank you for all your hard work.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, and now we get to move into our faculty report, learning a little bit more about the NMC magazine. And for that, we have Tricia Lincoln, our faculty literary advisor, and Caroline Schaefer-Hills, faculty design advisor. Welcome to the podium.
You want to get the podium? Okay, grab a clicker. There we go. I'm Caroline Schaefer-Hills, the Visual Communications Program Coordinator, but also the Design Advisor for the NMC magazine since the early 2000s. I'm here with our Literary Advisor, Tricia Lincoln, and several of our student staff members who are bringing you the hot off the presses current issue of our publication. We have been so very fortunate to carry on the tradition of this award-winning publication that involves experiential learning and getting our graphic design students and our communication students together in a tandem process that really helps us bring student literary expression and art and design expression to our greater NMC community.
So we wanted to share a little bit about the magazine. Let me step closer to the microphone here. The magazine is published twice a year in the fall and in the spring, and it features student, faculty, staff, and community members who are affiliated with NMC. We have poetry, nonfiction, fiction, art, photography, design. We've had interviews in the past. So it really is a blending of genres. And what's particularly nice for students is they have the chance to work with each other across disciplines. And so there's a lot of connections that get fostered across the college that way. Students that have been on our staff for 2 semesters get to go to a conference of their choosing. We talk about what would be a good conference for design or writing so that they have a lot of academic value in the conference that they go to. This past year, I took my writing staff to AWP, which was wonderful, and Caroline took her design students to a conference this fall.
We also, as part of our publication, like to apply the magazine to different awards systems and competitions, and it varies from design awards and visual awards to writing awards, obviously, with Associated Collegiate Press and other organizations. And we had a pretty nice winning streak last year with both of our publications. We won many Addy Awards, including Best of Show Addy Award, which is part of our kind of regional ad and design club going into the state and national level, which is pretty cool. And then also CCHA, the Community College Humanities Association Awards, and others. So we continue to expose students to these, hopefully these bodies and these organizations that are beyond their education, even here at NMC.
So here we have some photographs from our different conferences that we went to this past year. For my writers, when we went to AWP, we attended a variety of conferences. We kind of divided and conquered. I went to some that I thought would be good for me as an instructor. They went to some that focused on writing that they were interested in, but we looked at experimental forms, working with neurodivergent writers, queer, trans, and feminist authorship, writing across borders. What was particularly useful for me was maintaining literary magazine archives. I learned a lot about that, which is great, as we're working on having all of our archives available digitally with the library. We also went to a variety of readings. We went to a Milkweeds edition poetry reading that featured over 20 poets, so that was wonderful. We went to a Poets for Science reading that talked a lot about climate change and environmental issues, which was very informative. And then we went to a reading featuring Palestinian poets. So really a very broad spectrum. And then outside of the conference, we stayed in Little Tokyo. We walked around each morning going to Japanese bakeries, which was wonderful. We went to see rare bookstores, vinyl music stores, and also we went to the Hollywood Walk of Fame, which my students loved seeing. And then we went to a Palestinian Day rally. So a really, really unique, very cross-cultural experience for us there. You see some links over there. We have my faculty journal notes, and if you look in the Around the Worlds issue, which was from spring 2025, you'll see student journals there.
And coincidentally or not, the design staff also went to LA, but a different time of year. We just went this fall. And we took part in the American Institute of Graphic Arts. That's the AIGA. It's our national design organization. And it was great because we got to take more students than we ever have to a conference for the magazine, because we were able to volunteer and also help be the people that ran the conference, which was a wonderful networking and connection for the students to get to know the staff at AIGA and just meet all the designers coming to present. There were a lot of panels on cultural resistance, the state of AI. The conference was pretty much all focused on AI and also performance. And meaning across mediums and radical collaboration. So because we were able to get lodging covered and a lot of food covered, it was really possible for us to take a large group, which was great. And then while we were in LA, we did several things with the designers. We visited Disneyland to look at experience design, kind of in the place it originated. The Broad Museum and the Huntington we spent time at. Did classic LA things like meet Ed Trotta. And again, I have some links of one of our students singing with him on the sidewalk in front of the Broad, which was really cool. And I have a former VCA alumni, Sarah, who runs kind of a little fashion empire in LA that she did after graduating our program. And she's been out there about 12 years. So we were able to tour her facility and understand textile design and fashion design, which was really also an amazing experience for our design students.
So you can see we have our links. The Traverse Around the World is the Spring 25, and also our Utopia Dystopia, which just came out just a few weeks ago. You should both have a copy of those, but if you click on these links, they'll also take you to the digital issues as well.
And honors convocation and other accolades, again, because we're a student group, there are many awards that we award our students, mainly in visual communications because of how the magazine ties into our curriculum. Our typography classes take part in the magazine, laying out grid structures and type designs for the issues. The format changes every semester, as you can see by the two very different size copies that you have. So we get to explore and kind of round out a format every semester, and we get to celebrate the students as they concept all those and help them achieve what their goals are.
So concluding here, just some things that we're planning for the future. We're continuing to work with our students and having that interdisciplinary connection. I've been talking with Jakob, I know he was here a few weeks back presenting as well, about having our group, the White Pine Press and our group work together more. Ideally, we might be able to plan in the future. We're thinking 27, maybe a conference where we could have both groups together, which would be wonderful to do that. That's also the year that we have our 50th anniversary, so lots of good things planned for that time. And then in 2026, we're going to be part of the Scholars Hall crew featuring the magazine as we celebrate the college's 75th anniversary. So a lot of exciting things on the horizon for us and that we're hoping to get students involved with. I think now we'd like to open it up to questions, and we have 3 of our students here if you want to ask them anything about their experience.
Excellent. Go ahead, Kennard.
You always have a wide variety of subjects and some very otherworldly things. What kind of invitation do you put out that attracts all that diversity?
Yeah, the students, we really go through an ideation process where the students, it's all their ideas, right? And we kind of do whiteboarding and figure out, what we've done in the past, look at it culturally, look at it what's happening now, and we really have a vote ultimately that just the students get to vote on. We don't get to vote on, we just get to hear about the ideas. But they are really driving it. It is their publication, it is a student group, and we as the advisors, I think, are there to facilitate what they want to achieve. So we're kind of there to support people in that sense.
Great. Did I see another hand up over on this side? Question, comment? I'd love to hear from one of the students. You guys get to choose, how does this, and if you all have a comment, of course, feel free, but how do you feel this experience with this class from an experiential learning perspective? How does it prepare you for potentially maybe working with a magazine or other print medium? Don't, single file on your way to the podium.
I guess for me personally, it was my first time working on something that had to have a tight turnaround, and there was no getting something in after the due date. And
Right.
so having that kind of working on a deadline was a really great experience for me, I think.
Yeah, interesting. Any other thoughts on that?
I thought it was a great experience as far as all the different pieces that have to fit together in order to get it to the finish line and
Right.
actually printed. I was surprised at how many different things need to happen and decisions that need to be made as a group. Just having a game plan, you can get a lot more done. And,
Yeah.
I don't know, it was just a great experience. And the trip was fantastic.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think we would ever have an opportunity like that outside of NMC. It was priceless. Thank you.
Good to hear. I didn't want to cut you off if you had a remark.
I was just gonna say,
Oh, that's your editor, okay.
it was really good opportunity just to learn how to work together
Yeah.
and be a team, and we had a phenomenal team, so it was a really good experience.
Well, that's outstanding. Well, Tricia and Caroline, thank you so much. It looks like you're really preparing our students for real opportunities out in the big world. But thank you so much. Appreciate the students being a part of NMC. Appreciate your work, Tricia and Caroline. Thank you. Yeah. All right, we are at that portion of our agenda for public input. It doesn't appear that we have any public input. Is that correct, Lynn? Okay. And so with that, I'd like to move into some updates, and we'll start with President Nisley.
I'm going to limit my comments to 4 brief things. And one, although it was mentioned in the mid-month report, I think it bears some repeating here. And you may not be aware of this, but our foundation, in particular the foundation's Finance and Audit Committee, and even more specifically, the chair of that committee, Chris Lamb, 2 years ago initiated this idea of a student-managed investment fund, and it's come to fruition. And this is a really big deal, that at 4-year institutions, it's, pretty common. At 2-year institutions, it's about non-existent. So we're literally breaking some ground with this. And obviously, we've put guardrails on this, that we're making sure that even though these are real dollars, that could be lost or gains could be made, but the foundation's Finance and Audit Committee and the foundation board has put guardrails on it. But most importantly, it's a learning opportunity, and specifically, it's an experiential learning opportunity that these students are going to get real experience managing the foundation's funds. We do have a faculty member, Steve Rice, from our business area, who's agreed to be the advisor, and Chris Lamb's going to work side by side with him, and they're in the process right now of pulling together that student group. So stay tuned, but I just alert you that this is really an innovative thing and enabled thanks to the foundation, and specifically that leadership of Chris Lamb. The second thing, even though it's again in the board report, I want to draw out that Todd, Diana, and their respective teams are pushing us towards the 8th consecutive semester of enrollment growth. We are looking right now at about 9.3% increase on our spring contact hours. So again, hats off to them for continuing to press us in that positive direction. And thirdly, I mentioned to you, but I'll give a bit more color to this. Last Wednesday, I received an email from someone who I know who was in Munson at the time as a patient. And amidst some very serious surgeries, including a possible amputation, at 10:30 at night, this friend texted me to say, Nick, I want to let you know how impressed I are with your NMC nurses. And I'm going to read to you just a couple lines of what he shared with me. He said, Nick, 2 of NMC's nursing students who are graduating this weekend, just this last Saturday, the nurses had their pinning ceremony and in essence their graduation. These 2 students who are graduating this weekend have been part of the team that is saving my leg from amputation. Their skill and dedication is second only to their commitment to the care of their patients. How proud we can be as community members of their work and the work of the NMC teaching staff, preparing them for the great careers in their futures. Keep in mind, he was 3 surgeries into something, looking at a possible amputation, and he's taking time to tell me how much he cares about the nurses who were caring for him. And I think it's just another wonderful reminder of our students who are working in nursing positions, they're working as first responders, as police officers and maritime, and all these fields in our community, and the community cares about them and appreciates them. So I wanted you to hear that. I'll also say that this weekend, I mentioned we did have the nursing pinning ceremony, and those 2 nurses and about 30 others, which was really one of our largest graduating classes ever, participated in that pinning ceremony. And I would encourage you, if you haven't been to one yet, I guarantee you won't have a dry eye. It's just a tear-filled extravaganza because you get to hear the journeys of these nurses and where they've come from and where they're at. Just about 100% placement. The ones who aren't are just still looking, but really it's about 100% placement, and just about 100% of those are going to Munson. So it's a vital pipeline in terms of our nursing talent and workforce here. And linked with that, I'll just conclude to say today, Gail Karowski, who's our Police Academy director, proudly called me to say, Nick, we did it. She achieved 100% pass rate on our Police Academy students from this semester. So she was very proud to share that. That means we have 12 first responders, police officers who are going to be employed Monday morning out in police forces. And she indicated to me we work with about 24 agencies right now, as well as 3 tribal communities. So those students go across the state, although mostly local, but they do go across the state. And we have 14 new recruits coming into the spring class. So just sharing a little bit of that pride that hopefully you can carry with you out in the community.
Excellent. Questions, comments of President Nisley?
One other highlight I thought in the mid-month report was the data that you had from Ferris. And I found it compelling. And I wonder if we can seek out or have data from any other institutions where we have large numbers of transfers.
Yeah.
I'd love to see some comparable
I beat you
data.
to that.
Oh.
I told Jason, I said, we got to get that for the rest
Yes,
of
we
the
do.
university center, and yep, we're going to work
Yeah.
on that because it'd be nice to see it.
Right. And even from maybe State and U of M, I don't know how many transfers we have who go to those, but in addition to our university partners here, it'd be great to see that.
And to give Ferris a pat on the back. Obviously,
Absolutely.
they're being courageous. They're sharing that
Put out there.
transparently, and they should, because it's good data, which tells you how well our students are doing there.
Excellent. Anything else for President Nisley? Okay, with that, I'll move into my chair report. This is the month that I offer a chair report that I actually read from, and it's a little longer than normal, and it's my final chair report, so I'm going to try and do this with a straight face and no tears. So as this is my third and final chair report, I do want to remark on how much I've learned from each of you around this table, but also at that back table that's always with us every month. And I want to call all of you out. And Kennard, your infinite knowledge on this board.
I assure you it's fine.
Judy told me, I don't know about infinite, no. Truly, your infinite knowledge of this college, not just the college, but its relation to our community, has been critical to this board for many years. We're really grateful for all the time that you continue to give to our college. And Ken, I don't believe we would be so steadfast on our AI initiatives if not for you. I truly mean that. We kind of joke about, all the AI, but you have really been a critical component as a trustee to make sure that we're at the head of that table and that we're leading in it. And you saw today where we are, and I believe you've had a great impact on that. You've also bring a great amount of years of your experience at University of Michigan and always bringing that lifelong learning component to the table. And Andy, continue to challenge us. You consistently ask this question on after many presentations, and I think it's really good, and that's, what are those 1 to 2 things that you think we need to have on our radar? And you also brought that forward when we were talking about our strategic plan and key performance indicators. What are those 1 to 2 things we need to be focused on? Well, I think that really matters in keeping this college at the cornerstone of our community and just making sure we're always keeping our eye on the right ball. And Pam, in your time coming here, again, your background in our education community is a really important part of the Board of Trustees. You really also hold us to this dual enrollment, which could be easily missed by any one of us. Not missed, but not paid enough attention to. And so I just want you to know, I really appreciate the knowledge that you also bring to the table with your educational background, and it is very important. And Jody, you came on fast and furious, and in your first meeting, you joined this table with curious questions, and questions that keep us focused on a financial strong organization, a strategically focused organization, and I feel like you're always making sure we're looking beyond the tip of our nose. So you've come on as a board of trustee as if you've been here for a long time, just really great curiosity, and I appreciate that. And Mr. Mark, you have been asked to step up to a vice chair role and ultimately to a chair role for our college in very quick fashion, possibly the quickest in history. And you did so with courage, and I really appreciate the entrepreneurial background that you've brought to this table. I think it's really important moving forward, and also bringing that alum cheerleader role is very important. It helps keep the heart in the room, and I appreciate all you've done to step up. And our leadership team, Jason, you get to hear how proud I am of you often as you present our strategic plan. You have done such an amazing job keeping us strategic, keeping us innovative. And there are an enormous amount of people that walk behind you and alongside of you, but you are at the helm of that table. And what you've done with our Freshwater Innovation Center is outstanding. And I continually go in our community and keep hearing, wow, but for Jason, but for Jason. So thank you for your tireless hours to our college. And Diana's not here, but Carrie, I'm gonna ask you to bring this back to Diana, but I also share some of this with you because you're a big part of Diana's team. And what Diana has done to step up to a very strategic role in communication, she has brought podium-worthy stories to our organizations. And she has allowed us with this branding, and I know you're a big part of that team, to really show our value and differentiate us amongst other community colleges, because much of our competition is doing nothing. And I think through our branding that she's been so strategic about, she's allowed us to help people understand how doing nothing, NMC might be a better choice, right? And so the role that Diana has played has been critical to our growth. And Troy, you know, you have an enormous job as you work on our fiscal stewardship, and you never waver from our fiscal responsibility. But in addition to that, how you managed our master plan, not just the process, but you got us to execution. And I honestly was so impressed how we got the master plan done so quickly, but also we're already crossing enormous things off of that list. And you do that while keeping us fiscally responsible. And you've brought a team like Cunningham Limp to the table that gives us great peace of mind as we're making these moves. So really appreciate all you do to support this. And Todd, you heard President Nisley say this. There was a time, there are other community colleges that get to tout this enrollment increase, but there was a time when it was just NMC increasing our enrollment. And you really are a big part of that turnaround. Of course, there are others that have helped turn around our enrollment, but having you at the helm of that table is critical to the increases that we've seen 8 consecutive semesters working towards a double-digit increase. That's something that boards haven't been able to say for many years. So you are a critical component to our growth as well. And Stephen, our distinctive program development, that is, the distinctive programs here at the college are our differentiator. It is what makes us different out in the community. It's why people come here. And you are critical to making sure that we stay innovative, that you not just create new distinctive programs, but that you've made the ones that we have even better. And that you keep everyone focused on the right things. And we're so grateful for all you do to help create this differentiator for our brand as a community college. And Holly, being an employer, where's Miss, there you are, you're kind of behind the podium. Being an employer of choice is really hard. And you've gotten us there. And what I also hear, you know, HR can be just very behind the scenes, right? But you've developed a team And you've made it not behind the scenes. You've made this be a place, we got to hear about the October conference and how incredibly successful it is. And I keep hearing other ways that our employees are engaging, and we're looking at record numbers over and over. But what I also hear that you bring to the table is this obsession with our people, right? You make this place a people-first place, and that's what fills into an employer of choice. So we really appreciate what you do on that component. And Catherine is not here, but our foundation, wow. One word, wow. It has come such a long way. We've had for several years, we've been focused on transition, but Catherine has gotten so many people in the right seats, right people in the right place. And if Catherine were here, and if you could please take back with her, that includes her. We are so excited to see Catherine in that leadership role. And the moment she stepped up to a microphone, she dove right into it. And Molly, you always, you know, quiet leadership here in the room, but not in this room, but also in the president's office. Everything you do to coordinate these calendars and the things that we do as a board, it's really part of the backbone of what we do, and it's always done with a smile, right, Lynn? And Lynn, speaking of smiles and speaking of backbone and speaking of just the glue to it all, I could not have done this role without you. I'm certain President Nisley says the same, much in part to his role. You are such a calm leader, and I really, really appreciate all you do. And Kyle and Ruby, I don't get to say thank you enough to you both. You know, you are here well before the meeting, well after the meeting, and what you both do to allow our community to be able to watch these meetings online, that's no small task. So I appreciate you both so much. And Nick. Ugh, working alongside of you has allowed me to grow. And oh my gosh, this was not, I did so good. This is an incredible honor to sit in this chair. And the people that have been here before, and we get to do so much for our college. But you, my sir, are such a world-class leader to be able to have worked alongside you for 3 years. You made me a better person. You really did, and that's the biggest compliment I can give to you. And I'm gonna stop. And I'm just gonna say thank you. So it's been an honor. Okay, onward. Thank you very much. Are there any questions, comments for me?
Well, thank you, Laura, for your leadership.
Thank you, Laura.
It's my pleasure. All right, moving on to consent items, or to the consent items. May I have a motion to approve our consent items? Thank you.
I'll support.
Thank you. And all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, same sign. And that carries. And we're going to now move into some action items. Before we go into a closed session, may I have a motion to approve our 26 through 29 strategic strategies as presented? I can't see. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, and support.
Support.
And are there any discussion on our strategic plan before we vote? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. And any abstentions? Okay, and next we have a second reading on 3 policies. May I have a motion to approve those 3 policies as presented?
I'll move.
Thank you.
I'll support.
Thank you. And any discussion on those?
Yes.
Yes.
I'd like someone from the committee to just give us a brief explanation of the second item there.
Oh,
That would be
gosh.
Pam.
Bah.
And you're looking for what, Kennard, a broader,
It says it's a change in policy organization, and I don't know what that means.
I
The
thought we had.
other 2 were punctuation, literally. We were, for the 106.03 and the 101.00, those, we were basically just being consistent with Oxford commas. The other one was a word clarification, and I need to look it up.
So it's more a matter of form, is that what you're saying?
For those two, yes, and I'm looking at, oh, wait.
Yeah, I have it.
Okay.
pulled up too. So in the November packet, in the first reading,
Right.
it shows the red line version of.
Oh, yeah, I
the
don't have the red
change.
line.
Also similar, minor revisions for clarity, not changing really
Right.
the process.
It
but
was
more
a,
than
it was a
just-
referent that was not clear, and we made the referent clear.
Okay. Yeah, our practice is, though, on first reading, we don't discuss anything, so that's why
Oh,
I'm.
I didn't
bringing
know
it up
that.
now.
Learned something
Okay,
new.
you
Okay,
answered my question, thank you.
okay.
Excellent. Anything else? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And opposed, same sign. And any abstentions there? Okay, now may I please have a motion to close this regular session and go into a closed session to consider a privileged legal memo that's been prepared by the college's outside counsel, Miller Canfield.
I'll make the motion,
You want to support it?
or I'll second.
Okay, you got that, Lynn? And can you please provide a roll call on that?
Jody Lundstedt,
Yes.
Mark Healy,
Yes.
Ken Warner,
Yes.
Pam Horn,
Yes.
Andy Robichek,
Yes.
Henry Weaver,
Yes.
Laura Upland.
Yes. Okay, we are going to move to room 104 this time, which is that away. But we'll wait for sign up real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, where's Pam? Oh, okay.
This made it tough to get into these.
Okay, we are back in regular session, and we have action item U added to our agenda. And that action item is a motion I'd like to entertain. And the motion would be to authorize President Nisley to work with Cunningham Limp and Miller Canfield to present a letter of intent to the Grand Traverse Band of Ottawa and Chippewa Tribe, detailing the college's opening response to the tribe's recent proposal to purchase the Boardman Lake campus property. If the tribe signs the letter of intent on or before December 30th of 2025, we further authorize President Nisley to exercise his discretion whether to suspend the October 20th, 2025 RFP that's entitled Master Lease of the Northwestern Michigan College Boardman Lake Campus, pending negotiations with the tribe. And finally, that we further authorize President Nisley to work with Cunningham Limp and Miller Canfield to negotiate the terms of a final purchase and sale agreement to sell the Boardman Lake campus to the tribe, subject to the final approval by the Board of Trustees. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Support?
I'll support.
Thank you. And all those, well, before I go into that, is there any discussion on this item? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And opposed, same sign.
Aye.
And any abstention? And Lynn, are you comfortable with one opposed, not going into roll call for that?
Yes.
Okay, great. And that passes. Thank you very much. And then to close out our meeting, are there any, just reviewing follow-up requests? I did not capture anything. Did I miss anything, trustees? Okay, no follow-up requests. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.